Moving on to the coronavirus, as Al said, there's an outbreak here in America. Is it the worst in the world? That is according to Dr. Fauci. Take a look.
Quantitatively, if you look at it, it is. I mean, the numbers don't lie. Every country has suffered. We, the United States, has suffered as worse or as much or worse than anyone. I mean, when you look at the number of infections and the number of deaths, it really is quite concerning.
And what's so sad is we had all the resources, or we were at least better off than some countries. Over the past 7 days, one person has died every 80 seconds from COVID-19 in the United States, and that pace appears to be accelerating. That's according to NBC News. Think how many have died during our program. One continuing problem that many officials across the country are dealing with is people who are throwing these massive house parties like you see here. So the mayor of Los Angeles, look at this, that's outrageous, threatened to shut off water and power to homes found to be hosting these types of parties. He said these homes have essentially become nightclubs and that the consequences ripple far beyond just those parties. Good in my head. Al, am I going too far? Shut the water off.
I mean, you have to do something, but at the same time, you know, Brandon, I'm sitting here as a 43-year-old man and saying that's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know if 26-year-old Al wouldn't have been doing that.
Yes.
Since we're being completely honest.
That's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
You would never have
because
done
you're
that.
ridiculous when you're 23. You're ridiculous when you're 25. I'm not saying it's right, Tori. I'm saying that people are expressing, we're seeing people express their frustration through anger in obituaries. We're seeing people express their frustration through kind of giving up and just saying, let's go party.
This is stupidity. Don't you have
It is absolutely
But you
stupid.
have your grandmother tattooed on your arm, and if you thought about your grandmother, you would never go to one of these things, 26 or not 26. Don't you think?
I would hope so. What do you think, Brandon?
I'm sorry, I'm with you, Al, because if 35-year-old Brandon didn't have Daily Blast Live or wasn't part of the New York Giants organization, I would be right up in there with him. Tori, you're talking about shut the power off, shut the water off of the water parks that are open here in New Jersey. Shut the water off at Disneyland. Disneyland is open right now.
Great point.
So I think a lot of people are like, instead of having one universal rule, well, hey, no one can gather over a certain amount of numbers. You're letting certain businesses and you're letting certain things open and flourish. So people are like, hey, if we live in a world where you can be taking bridal pictures and an explosion go off, I'm going to live my life. I'm not going to die inside the house. But people, please still be safe, wear masks, and we need to get this thing under wraps really soon.
And we're not advocating for this.
No, right.
We're just trying to get to the mentality of why people are doing this.
Right, and I do want to say, Brandon, that's a really great point, to be honest, because there's no consistency. So at some point, people are going to make their own rules when you don't have a national mandate for how many people wearing the masks, all of that. So I do see it's sort of an ad hoc punishment, right?
And
I do
also
hear that.
now you have all these states, these contiguous states that are together. So we have, we might have a state that's in serious lockdown, and then then we have Georgia, where churches are open.
And kids are going
We have
to school.
other states where bars and gyms are open.
Right.
We have other states where they're not. So there's no consistency. So if there's no consistency, like you said, Brandon, people are like, I don't want to go to the gym, but I do want to go to this party. Or I don't want to go to this party, but I do want to go to church. And at the end of the day, what does it matter where you got it?
Yeah, wow.